to help you recap on the topic of radical changing verbs, one of the grammar points that I've asked you to revise. Last time you would have had a look at regular verbs, so for AR, ER, and IR verbs. Okay, so that's your green box up at the top left-hand side. So hopefully that's all fairly clear for you by now. It's really just a case of you memorizing your endings and also working out what the process is. So you take off the AR, ER, or IR first, get your stem, and then you add your ending. Can I just have a look at or remind ourselves about the white box at the bottom left here, okay, which we're referring to as radical changing verbs, or RCVs for short. They're also known as stem changing verbs because if you remember, these verbs also have a spelling change in the stem of the word, so the first part of the word, as well as having to add the different ending on. Okay, so just to quickly recap on this white box for you. So we'll ignore that. So yeah. So as I say, yeah, known as radical changing verbs. Okay. And here are the three main types of radical changes that you have. You've got O to UE, okay, the middle column you've got E to IE, and the third column you've got E to I. There is actually a fourth one which goes from U to UE, but there's only one verb in that, which is hugar, so possibly not enough to warrant its own particular column in this particular context. Bad news is for you is that there's no secret, there's no trick, there's no pattern to spotting whether a verb is one of these misbehaving verbs that has this change in the stem. I'm afraid you just have to be familiar with the most common verbs that behave like this, okay, which you will do with time, the more you use them in your writing and encounter them in reading and listening text. So these stem changes involve the last vowel of the stem, okay, it's usually an E or an O. Apologies about that. Okay, and these changes affect parts 1, 2, 3, and 6, which we'll see in a second. Okay, so just to have a look at a verb written out in full for you. So we've got the verb entender at the top left here. Okay, we've got 6 parts of the verb that we're going to fill out. We've already been have it indicated below that it's the radical change is E to IE. Okay, and so this is what the verb in its entirety looks like written out in full. Okay, so entiendo, entiendes, entiende, entendemos, entendéis, entienden. Okay, so you'll notice. First thing to notice is that just like we've forecast, okay, so there's a vowel in the stem that changes. That vowel is an E and it's changing to an IE, okay, so you notice this change in the stem. Also notice that that change doesn't happen in parts 4 and 5, okay, so it's not entiendemos or entiendéis. We keep the same stem that of the original word, so entend, okay, and then obviously the green bits at the end are just basically your normal ER endings, okay, so your ability, so knowledge of that is still important here, okay. Then we've got poder, which is the verb to be able to. It's a O to UE change, okay? So this is what the verb looks like written out in full. Puedo, puedes, puede, podemos, podéis, pueden, okay? So I can, you can, he, she, or it can, we can, you lot can, or they can, okay? And again, just draw your attention to the fact that parts 4 and 5 don't change. We've got the same dynamics going on. We've got a vowel changing in the stem. This time the vowel is O to U and the change is to UE, okay? And pedir is the verb to ask for, okay? So pido, pides, pide, pedimos, pedís, piden, okay? So I ask for, you ask for, etc. Okay, so hopefully spotting the pattern here, and as mentioned just previously, there's one verb which behaves changes from U to UE. Okay, and it's jugad. Okay, quite a common verb, so certainly worth having on your radar. So that's why you've got juego, juegas, juega, jugamos, jugáis, juegan. Okay, so all the green bits that you can see at the end of the words, okay, that's your basic knowledge of endings for AR, ER, and IR verbs. Okay, so you still need to know that. Okay, but obviously you need to be aware that there are some verbs which have this stem change. Okay, which have the spelling change in the stem of the word. Okay, as mentioned before, okay, there's no clever way necessarily or no pattern of spotting whether a verb is one of these stem changing verbs. Okay, but here's a list of common verbs. Okay, ones that you use quite frequently, which which are E to IE verbs. Okay, so worth having these ones on your radar. Okay, I won't read through them all now. Okay, but just worth that they're there. Here's some common O to UE verbs. Okay, so again, just worth knowing that they're there, and some common E to I verbs. Okay, not quite as many of these ones. Okay, so that in a nutshell is just a quick summary of the spelling changes that you have in that white box that I referred to at the beginning. So the white box here at the bottom left. Okay. One last thing to add. Okay. If the stem has got two vowels in it, it's the last vowel that is the stem change. So think about the verb preferir. Okay, you've got two e's in the vowel. Okay, it's the second e. Okay, it's the which is the one that you do the stem change, the spelling change on. Okay, okay, I'll leave it there.